This is Beyond the Bench with Nick Morgasen and Nick Fodera. A look at sports and pop culture from beyond common sense. The show that constantly goes off the rails and might never get back on. When you don't belong, you're a bench warmer. On this show, there's no riding the bench. This is Beyond the Bench on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Beyond the Bench on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. For Nick Fodera, I'm Nick Morgasen. Episode 42. Holy crap. 42 episodes.
Coming up on 50.
I mean, we have quite a few shows that have done... I don't know, actually. This is probably the second most episodes on the network, right?
I think so, because we were one of the first offshoots to come out of Empty the Bench, but... We do have a lot of nonsense to talk about. We've got some sad news, we've got some glad news, and we've got some what else?
Interesting news.
Yeah. What else rhymes with sad and glad? Zed.
I guess that works. Follow the show on social media, on Twitter at Beyond the Bench 1, on Facebook, same thing, Instagram, same thing. Follow the podcast network at ETB Network, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and whatever future social media platform there might be. Just don't choose Truth Social or Getter.
Oh, we'll get to that.
But we have a lot to get into. Just to break it down, if I can clear my throat and not die. Some sad news, Olivia Newton-John passing away at 73. We'll get to that. Most of the people, if you know Grease, you definitely know what we're talking about. Let's see. Donald Trump news times 2. You'll definitely get
you'll get a kick out of that.
Also, Jennette McCurdy and Nickelodeon. That story just keeps that's a Pandora's box that's being opened very deep.
She is now reenacting Sherman's March to the Sea in her relationship with Nickelodeon.
Also, yeah, that's a good point. Also, obviously I'm a radio nerd. We're going to get to some big-time radio syndication news, which if you like top 40 radio, you'll understand why this is interesting news. Also, Monkeypox. Monkeypox.
And as the cherry on the sundae, where we couldn't let an episode go by without at least mentioning the Kardashians, so I guess we have to feed that beast.
Well, no more popping cherries. Anyway.
Oh God. Anyway,
we'll keep the jokes to a minimum for just at least this topic, because this is a big deal in the world of pop culture and entertainment.
So Olivia Newton-John she passed away on Monday, right?
Yeah, early in the week.
She passed away earlier in the week at the age of 73 from a
breast cancer, right?
And she had been battling it for the better part of 20 years. And
I thought it was close to 30.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
It's a long time. Let's just put it that way.
It's a long time. And she was one of the first celebrities, I think, to really make that part of her advocacy.
I mean,
celebrities like that.
I mean, she had an amazing life.
Amazing body of work. But it's not something that is evident in the moment, because you're not. I feel like Olivia Newton-John. The people kind of wrote her off. It's like, that she's just a lady from Greece or from Xanadu, or she had a couple really, she had a couple chart toppers in the 80s, but. I mean, the lady, she was good at what she did, whether you liked it or not.
I mean, you can't disrespect Olivia Newton-John. Anyone who disrespects Olivia Newton-John deserves to be smacked on the back of the head.
But even if you don't, I don't consider myself a fan of Grease. I don't consider myself a fan of musicals, period.
You don't like Grease?
I only know Grease because my cousin was a big John Travolta fan growing up. You have to understand something about elementary schools in the late 90s. Every elementary school worth its salt had to have the production of Grease at least once.
Oh, God, you're right. Once. Yeah.
You had to and if you had a chorus program in your school,
we did.
You had to have somebody either you were going to sing that song, one song, at least one song from Grease in an ensemble, or you were going to have the A student sing her hopelessly devoted song, whatever the hell that was. But
and actually, what was the name of the one song in Greece where they had the back and forth between the Summer Lovin', wasn't it?
Yeah, because you were going to do that, or you were going to, or you know what, or otherwise, I can't tell you how many summer concerts I've played in that had some element of Grease, or even, God, even a lot of even Xanadu. There was Olivia Newton-John was kind of inescapable. I mean, think about it. The Grease in and of itself is a 70s movie about the 50s, but in the 90s, it was a nostalgic movie about the 70s, about the 50s. So it's kind
Right.
of
Exactly. I mean,
it's kind of brain melting that way.
who was the other guy? Because the friend of Travolta's character passed away a few years ago. No,
Damn it, what's his name?
But-
Oh, yeah, the guy who was 30, but he actually was playing a high school student. At the
I
time?
think so. Right. And
Christ, what?
he was a smoker in real life, even though that was in the movie.
And I can't really remember. I'm blanking on his name right
he was
now.
He was the partner in crime in the movie, like the friend.
Yeah, you're talking to a brick wall here because I can't.
I know, but it's just crazy.
I
So-
think there's. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so it says here, 30-year cancer journey, lost her battle to metastatic breast cancer.
Which is what happens when the cancer spreads to other organs.
It basically means that there's no return, basically.
It doesn't necessarily mean that there's no return, but it becomes more difficult. But in this case, I mean, she fought for 30 years, and
That's a long time.
And she brought a lot of attention to the problem. She brought a lot of advocacy, and with that advocacy came research, and with that research became money, and that meant that they could develop drugs that help people live longer.
You have to remember something. Back when they were our age, like there was really no technology like there is today to save people to live longer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even 20 years ago, I mean, the landscape is so different.
People are living an extra 10 to 15 years.
Which we're pissing away, which we're pissing away complaining about it on the internet.
No, but I'm just saying, like, people are living 10, 15, 20 years, like, with terminal illnesses.
Longer than they should. And, but just in terms of Olivia Newton-John's legacy, I mean, I feel like she started to have a little bit of a reappraisal in the 90s and in the early 2000s, where, I mean, she was the girl next, everybody's favorite, and then she was pop idol in the 80s. Then she became a joke, just like Travolta became a joke. Then all of a sudden there was this big comeback and reappraisal. And I mean, the woman had her voice was pretty powerful. So
I mean, you know what put the show back in the viral spotlight is when Travolta had made the mistake with the name.
Yeah, Adele Dazeem.
One of the funniest moments of all time, by the way.
Which I gotta feel bad for John, because
which award show was that? Do you remember?
That was the Grammys.
Holy crap! Wow.
Or was that the Tonys?
No, I think it is the Grammys.
Yeah, you're right. It is the Grammys. It was the
Grammys.
That put the cast recording, because it was a cast recording of Frozen.
Right, and it was just funny though, because everyone was talking Grease all over again because of that.
Travolta too. The chemistry that the two of them had. I mean, and she was doing most of the work there. But
I mean,
not to say that John wasn't also good, but
wait a minute. Real chemistry. The final ensemble in the movie where they do the dance together and they're singing together. That's chemistry.
Have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
So I'm the only one who's only seen bits of it.
You haven't seen the whole movie?
But I know the story because, again, every elementary school, even the one I went to, had to do Grease, so I know the story.
I have a friend who told me she will never watch Grease.
As a matter of protest or what?
I don't remember the exact reason, but she's like, I don't believe in the story or the way it's done.
I don't believe it, or I don't believe in it.
Like just like the whole notion of the story. Apparently, I don't know.
Okay.
Don't ask me why. I don't know.
I mean, I don't like musicals either, but I'm not going to invent any justification. It's like, hey, I'm not a musical person.
Well, I'll tell you something, and this is going to get tomatoes thrown at me, but I don't see what the whole fascination with Wicked is.
Wicked as in the show?
Yes.
Oh my God! Now every musical theater nerd from here to Connecticut is going to be throwing tomatoes at you because you can besmirch Grease. But God help you if you go after Wicked.
Why? I thought you don't like musicals.
I don't, but I'm saying it's like you don't go butchering all the sacred cows for theater nerds.
No, first of all, if you want to like Wicked, go ahead. I'm not telling you not to.
My cousin sang parts of it. I had friends in high school who played that. So you don't besmirch Wicked. Believe me, Wicked.
I'm not besmirching Wicked.
I tried, and I regretted it.
I'm not besmirching Wicked. I just don't get it. That's all. Like everybody, when I was a kid, was like, "Oh my God, I've seen Wicked 3 times," and I'm like, "What is it again? It's about a bunch of witches."
It's a prequel to The Wizard of Oz.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. I do remember hearing that. My point is, this is a sad story.
We're getting off topic, and the fact that this is I mean, Olivia Newton-John kind of transcended the form that is so easily susceptible to schmaltz. She made you believe it,
right? And like I was saying at the end of the movie, her and John that proved the chemistry throughout the movie,
and that's not something that can be easily replicated. You either got it or you don't.
I mean, when you look at today's actors and actresses, it's fake, very fake. When you see relationships like in a movie, it's very fake.
Again, I think it's a matter of trying to force something to be there that is not there. But I think that it was genuine. What John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, had when they were working together.
The only one I can really think of,
but it's good chemistry.
The only one, and this is more music, but Bill Medley and Jennifer Warnes.
Yeah, Warner.
No, I thought it was Jennifer Warnes. By the time
Oh, Warren's, you're right. I thought you said Warren.
No,
Warren's. You're
right. For Time of Your Life.
For Dirty Dancing, which I've also not seen.
And by the way, I actually interviewed Bill Medley back in the day when I was in college radio, and I can't find it. I'm kind of annoyed. He actually told me the whole backstory behind how she was chosen to do the song with her and everything.
And I didn't even believe that was the same guy from the Righteous Brothers, because I grew up listening to the Righteous Brothers. But Bill Medley is the one singing that song.
Yeah, I interviewed him. He told me the whole story about it. I have to see if I can find. If I can find it, I'll put it up as a little archived exclusive that I got. But I interviewed him, and I also interviewed Jay Black. That was really
from Jay and the Americans.
Yes. Because they were doing a concert together. Don't ask me why. I guess it has to do with it was at NYCB Theater, Westbury Music Fair.
Yeah.
And I got to go backstage.
I think he actually performed there with Jay and the Americans.
Well, he doesn't own the name anymore, though.
He's still living, right?
No, he recently passed away.
He recently passed away.
But if you don't, and I'll try to make this short, but Jay had a lot of gambling debts, and he told me a lot of the story, how he had to sell his name because his gambling debts were so bad. And the creepiest thing of that whole thing, so I went to Westbury Theater. He offered me tickets over the phone while I was doing the interview. It was the funniest thing ever. He's like, "You want to come see me?" And Bill Medley, and I'm like, "Okay." I said, "Can you get me 4 tickets?" "Yeah, sure, why not?" And then I was very friendly with the Westbury Music Fair people. That's how I got all the interviews from there. And they let me go backstage and meet Bill Medley and Jay Black.
Damn, that's actually. But you know what? I think Olivia Newton-John also do that same thing, where it costs you nothing to be nice.
That's the thing. Well,
that's what makes you. That's what makes you remembered at the end of the day.
Right.
Because you can be remembered, but they'll remember you as a dick. So would you rather be remembered as a dick, or would you rather be remembered as a national treasure?
No, that's a good point. I mean, this is unfortunate. We're seeing a lot of people pass away. We saw Bill Russell pass away the other week. We saw Vince Scully pass away. I mean, like a lot of names are passing away. But by the way, not that I'm trying to rush to the end of the year. When they do that montage at the end of the year for New Year's, there are going to be huge names at the end of the list this year.
I can't even imagine. But you know what?
Am I wrong though?
Yeah, I know. No, you're right. You're right. But you know what? You mourn that they're gone, but you also celebrate that they were here at all.
Agreed. I'm just saying, like, this is going to be the first time in years where we're going to see massive names. Like,
yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. So from sad to the incredibly stupid, feds likely obtained pulverizing amount of evidence ahead of searching Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. Now, let me just set the scene here because I was doing stuff. I was editing for our podcast network stuff. And all of a sudden, news drops, Trump Mar-a-Lago estate raided
by FBI.
And I was like, God, you couldn't script this any better.
I was like, I almost couldn't believe it. But then again, I wasn't particularly surprised. Because it's like, whoa, now you're doing it? But
well, let's clarify one thing, which most people don't know. So when Trump left the White House, after
he was supposed to give back.
No, it has nothing to do with that. He took boxes of documents that didn't belong to him that had to go to the archive.
That were supposed to go to the National Archive. Now, there's an agency that is in charge of that. And they made the feds aware that he was taking these things that didn't belong to him. Now, the FBI has not, as of this recording, Merrick Garland just came out today and unsealed the warrant that they got from the judge, from a judge to a Trump-appointed judge, as a matter of fact, to go to Mar-a-Lago and raid it, because apparently they took a substantial amount of evidence. I think, pulverizing, and
they took boxes.
They even raided his personal safe, I could just imagine what the fuck is in that safe.
Do you really want me to say what's in that safe? I could sit here for hours and make jokes.
Oh, you wouldn't be saying anything I haven't already said to myself.
Well, I guess you could say there are really true skeletons in that closet.
Oh, I could just imagine. But as of right now, they aren't saying exactly what the warrant was there to find, but it is speculated at this point that
it was for evidence. It's for tampering documents.
That it was supposedly classified military intelligence that he was in possession of that he should not have.
He basically, what he did on the last day, he picked up the boxes and said, "Screw you, White House. I'm taking the boxes."
I'm taking it anyway, even though he was told multiple times that you can't take it.
I'm Donald Trump. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Basically,
so him in a fit of petulance, decides, "Yeah, it's mine. You can't have it." Like a 7-year-old that won't share his Legos. He decides to take these documents. And apparently it had become aware that the feds had been tipped off by a source inside Mar-a-Lago that not only what he had taken was important, it was also a matter of national security, and they had to act because there was apparently a fear that he could destroy the evidence that he had. Now, as of right now, Trump has been in the right-wing media sphere.
Oh God!
The right-wing winosphere, I should say.
Oh, I can tell you a few of those people. I bumped into them when I worked at my old job.
Because they've been throwing a fucking hissy fit, saying defund the FBI and Merrick Garland's a traitor, and if we Kevin McCarthy, the minority leader, if we take back control, we're going to be launching a full congressional investigation into Merrick Garland and Chris Wray, and who appointed Chris Wray. You know what? Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. You want to know who appointed Chris Wray?
Trump.
Donald fucking Trump.
Wait.
Congratulations, dickweeds. You have played yourselves. You have played yourselves, and now all of a sudden, you guys positioned yourselves. The Republican Party just positioned themselves as big law and order men. We're gonna stand up to Antifa and the leftist mobs.
Wait a minute. It gets worse. It gets worse because
when that hammer's turned on you, you go all ACAB on us.
No, but then it gets worse when you have assholes like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz.
Who are from the FBI.
And this is a witch hunt.
Well, for a witch hunt, it's definitely turning up a lot of witches. I don't know about you.
Well, when you have a bunch of saggy breasts, I guess that makes sense.
No, I was talking about metaphorical witches. You're the one who went there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, now we're going to get attacked. Thanks a lot.
Congratulations, dickweeds.
I mean, sorry, it's just what I think of her. She is the biggest asshole on the right.
I can't say the things I'd like to say. Otherwise, we're going to get banned off every single platform we're on.
And Gates, the one who has apparently was a child predator, allegedly, like he should shut up.
Everybody in this case should shut up. Because, but I want to see what it is. I want to see what it is because I hope it's something. I hope it's not anything like the Geraldo's vault. But I would imagine you don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I do. I know. I was just rolling my eyes. Like, I know what you're talking about.
I hope it's not that because I hope that if it is something, it's very because I'd imagine Trump don't do things halfway. He doesn't do things that are quasi illegal. He does things that fulfill the very purpose of the law they're meant to prevent.
You know what Trump is? Trump is one of those guys that will lie on top of a lie to cover a lie
on top of a lie,
and then he'll lie to cover all those other lies.
Exactly, and the fact that the answer to the question, what crime has Donald Trump committed? The fact that the answers are multiple choice has to be a dead case. Has to be a bit of a problem here, folks.
Yeah, this is a problem, and just
no matter what side of the ideological spectrum you may fall on, conservative, liberal, leftist, indifferent, or far right whack job. I mean, well, far right whack job. I mean,
well, you could have whack jobs on both sides of the aisle, but
you could have whack jobs on both sides of the aisle, but
let's put it this way. I'm not surprised by that this happened. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't happen right when he left the White House, to be honest.
I didn't either. I don't know why they waited 2 years.
Because they probably needed to execute a search warrant.
But I would imagine they also took the surveillance tapes from Mar-a-Lago. So they are very interested in the comings and goings of everybody that was going in and out.
You know what I don't understand? You know what I don't understand, though? And I heard someone talking about this. I don't know how true it is. He's a dumbass because he could have, what's the term? I can't think of it when you're still in office. Declassified. He could have declassified the documents and he didn't do it.
He could have just declassified the documents unless he's trying to do something with them that you don't want people to know about.
Right, but wait a minute.
What is it you are hiding, I wonder?
But wait. If he just declassified the documents, they couldn't use it against him.
And at any point, yes, you're right. And by the way, at any point, seeing as how he was the recipient of the subpoena, he could have come out at any point and told us exactly what they were looking for and exactly what this was about. And that was his right, apparently, according to Merrick Garland. But he didn't. He kept saying that this is a witch hunt, but he wouldn't say what it was.
Garland's an idiot.
I'm guessing he was using it. He was using it as fuel to look like the victim.
No,
because he's the victim as long as you have people believing that they're just roustabouting him for no reason.
First of all, it has nothing to do with being a victim. It has to do with he always has to double down on everybody.
Yeah, but he always likes to think of himself as a victim.
He'll never be a victim. Let's put it that way. He's gonna have victims of what he did. He's never gonna be a victim. Because he's too busy lying to get out of his other lies. That's his problem. I don't think someone taught him when he was a kid that, like, when you lie, things happen.
Well, there are plenty of people in this world who never learned that lesson. The problem is none of them should be president. That's the problem.
Well, that's not true. I'm sure we've all lied in our life.
We've all lied in our lives, but I wouldn't elect me president.
That's true. I'd be a horrible president.
I wouldn't vote for me. You wouldn't vote for you. Oh,
No.
you probably would. But
No, I actually wouldn't vote for myself. Actually,
it's like you want me to be president? Me?
God,
I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
I'd rather a monkey be president than Trump.
I wasn't gonna go there, but you said it for me.
The problem is they don't have opposable thumbs, so that might be a problem.
Yeah. Would make Oval Office meetings a lot more fun if you get to throw shit at people, though.
Wow.
I mean, you gotta entertain yourself somehow.
Well, speaking of throwing shit at the wall, part 2, Donald Trump. I'm being persecuted. I'm taking the 5th in a New York Attorney General probe.
So, seeing as how I said before that the answer to the question, what crime did Donald Trump commit, is multiple choice, enlighten me. This is the Attorney General probe into the Trump Foundation charity. Is that right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yep.
So they had him give a deposition the other day
With Letitia James. Yeah.
with Letitia James, who's the Attorney General in New York. She's running this case.
She's trying to like put him away for good.
She's trying to nail both his ass cheeks to the wall.
And his kids.
Yeah, because he's gonna end up like I mean, she's basically Captain Ahab, and he's the whale.
I hate to say this though, like I think you really need to center this around him and leave the kids alone.
If they were just as involved in it, or if they had knowledge of it, that's no excuse.
Well, we don't know that for sure,
but if you can prove it,
yes.
If you can prove it,
but
and only if you can prove it.
I feel like they should really like just center it around him though, and like.
But here's what happened when they got him in a room. So actually, did he even go anywhere to do that, or was it
there was video of him getting out of his big honking SUV.
Oh yeah, Mr. Big Tonka truck in his big SUV,
and with his Secret Service from his presidency.
So he decides to invoke the Fifth Amendment, which is the right to decline to self-incriminate, 40 times.
Yeah, that's a bit
40
much.
Fucking times. 40.
Wait.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Thank you, Mr. Fishman. See, I'm sorry to say it, but if you are pleading the fifth that many times, it really doesn't look good on your "I'm innocent" thing. It makes you look like a low-level banana foot soldier. It does. It makes you look like a low-level mob hood. It does.
I just, you know what?
I'm invoking the right. I'm gonna plead the fifth.
I mean, just looking at that, that makes you look guilty. By the way,
mind you, he was the one who was hemming and hawing, saying if Hillary pleads the fifth, that's actually guilt. She's actually guilty. So as it turns out, he doth protest too much.
But wait a minute. Did you see that he also said Trump went on to claim James has campaigned on the promise, quote, get and destroy Trump?
I mean, that's a hell of a promise if you could do it. That's a hell of a get if you could do it. But you know what? Seeing as how he's been able to get out of everything, and I don't have a lot of.
I have a question though. So she's running the case, the investigation. Isn't that technically against the rules to have a bias against someone that you're running an investigation against?
Well, no, because she's the attorney general. It's the state of New York versus Donald Trump.
Right, but
she's the representative of.
Right, but
legal representative of the state of New York.
Right, but if that's the case, if she's running a campaign, she shouldn't be running the investigation.
I think it's because this investigated started before she ran for re-election.
Right,
so
but I'm saying
I think there might be like a grandfather clause at work here.
I'm not saying that she's wrong for whatever, but I always thought that if you were doing an investigation and you had any bias against the person you were against,
I think there's some rules she can. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is, but I think there's a rule where she can kind of slide under that.
Oh, you mean because of political power, right?
It cuts both ways.
It's a good point. I mean, can we just throw this man in jail? I know. Let me guess.
I mean, at this point, I've been hearing that for 7 years, almost 7 years at this point. And look, either shit or get off the pot, fellas. I mean, I'm sick and tired of overdosing on opium here. I mean, Jesus Christ, you blow any more smoke up my ass, I'm gonna burst into flames. Stop telling me, oh, this is it. Oh, this is it. He'll never get out of it this time. And then he does. And then he slithers out of it like the snake he is. And it's like, oh, how could that have happened? You fucking tell me, shithead.
I hate to say this, but Donald Trump reminds me of one person.
R-E-L.
I knew it.
X.
The fact that everything wrong is never his fault.
Yes.
He thinks it's never his fault.
Exactly.
See, that's a pretty apt comparison now that I think about it.
By the way, I don't know if you saw this on social media, but did you see the viral video of the interview Pardon My Take did with Aaron Rodgers?
I did not.
So you'll come along with me here because this is actually funny.
Okay. I don't know what the hell you're going with it. Go ahead.
No, just follow me here. So Big Cat and PFT commentator, two of the big names at Barstool, do a podcast called Pardon My Take, #1 podcast in the sports space. And basically they were interviewing, they were interviewing Aaron Rodgers. We're sitting across from him.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, PFT commentator, now, if you need to know, he's a long-haired guy. He wears sunglasses. He hides his eyes, whole ordeal, whatever.
Yeah. And
he basically asked Aaron, how many people do you think you've killed?
Killed?
It had to do with the vaccination.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I did see that. Not come to think about it.
It's been seen over 10 million times on Twitter.
And he took offense to that question.
Well,
I don't accept that line of questioning at all.
Wait. Nope, wait. Because Big Cat, who's the second biggest personality at Barstool, twisted the needle by saying, let's make it, how many grandmothers did you kill?
Holy shit.
And then Aaron Rodgers is like, I know you're fucking...
We got some breaking news. Hang on.
What? Well,
supposedly Washington Post... Hang on. Washington Post is now reporting that the classified documents that they were searching for were related to nuclear weapons.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah. I didn't know exactly, but I heard a rumor about that.
That just broke.
Well, as we're recording.
Nuclear documents.
As we're recording, by the way, that just broke.
Okay.
But let me finish this.
Finish off and then we'll move on.
As I was saying, Big Cat said, how many grandmothers did you kill? And basically, Aaron was like, I know you guys are fucking around, but I don't find this funny. So now, all of a sudden, Aaron, the guy who is the laughable joke guy, finally is Mr. Serious.
Yeah.
I mean, so basically, he did it to himself.
R-E-L-A-X.
He did it to him, but you know what? That's the ego twisting to protect itself. He can't accept responsibility for anything he might have done or something bad that might have resulted from his actions. So his ego will not let him. So it must contort itself into shapes to shield him from blame.
God, you know what? It twisted itself into a cheese head.
Oh, God.
That's what you get for being a Packers fan. My point is, Aaron Rodgers and Donald Trump are very similar people.
Ego is as ego does, I guess.
But I mean, that was just funny though, because Trump's the same way. He'll laugh at you, and then when he doesn't like what you're saying, he'll scream bloody murder.
He'll get pissed.
Yeah, like Aaron's the same way. Aaron will laugh with you until the cows come home. He'll
poke at you. He'll poke at you all day. But then when you punch him, then he cries.
Like Aaron would come on this podcast. We would laugh with him for an hour, But if we said something about the vaccine,
He would be staring daggers at us.
and he would say the same statement. I know you guys are fucking around, but I don't find that funny. Like,
We don't find it funny either, Aaron.
we don't find it funny either. Maybe if you just got vaccinated and not immunized.
Perhaps. But all right, moving on.
Oh, okay, good. We got done with Trump. Onwards to another interesting story. We started to talk about this last week. Jennette McCurdy. Now, before I set this scene up, Jennette McCurdy came out and basically revealed in her book, and I don't have the name of the book in front of me at the moment.
I'm glad my mom died. That's what it's called.
Which, by the way, I give her credit considering what her situation was that she would name the book.
So yeah, context is necessary. So if you don't know, Jennette McCurdy was the co-star of Miranda Cosgrove in the show iCarly. I'm a little too that's after my time, but right smack in the middle of his and our intern Alex. So she has now written a book saying that she grew up with a verbally and emotionally abusive mother who was basically responsible for her suffering from anorexia and bulimia later in life.
And a whole heck of a lot of other
and
issues.
a whole heck of a lot of other, emotional abuse. And she wrote a book about it. And
apparently, it's a good book because it's sold out of Amazon in one day.
Yeah, it's sold out of Amazon within I think a week of it coming out. And she's written about the horrible shit she's had to go through before.
A lot.
This is the first time that she's gone in depth with everything that went on, and she really doesn't spare anybody. Except for
her friends,
her co-stars and iCarly.
Yeah, I mean, so this is crazy. We'll get to this headline in a second because I found this interesting because there's so many. I was telling Nick before we started recording, there are so many of these little pieces of stories dropping like all over the place. I thought this one was interesting, but I'll get to this one in a second. Nickelodeon, it was reported, was willing to give her $300,000 to basically NDA all the abuse that went down at Nickelodeon.
Because she had accused the creator of iCarly and all that, and Victorious, and
just say
basically all the live action shows since I was watching Nickelodeon as a kid.
Just say the name. Dan Schneider.
Dan Schneider. So she didn't name him, but we all know that's who he
I mean, if you don't know who created all the big shows of the 90s, you're crazy.
Apparently he made her feel uncomfortable.
More than uncomfortable.
More than uncomfortable, and apparently made a pass at her and tried to ply her with alcohol and forced her to pose in a bikini or something like that. Real creepy shit.
I mean, Daniel Snyder obviously had a troubled past as a kid.
Dan Schneider, you mean?
Dan Snyder, excuse me. Dan Snyder probably had a troubled past. Schneider, I said that.
You said Snyder.
Schneider. Dan Schneider had probably had a troubled past as a kid.
I mean, I mean that's a nest of cobras over there. I don't want to.
No. You know what? I'm willing to say that because of all the creepy shit that's come out.
Yeah, I mean, it was a rumor. It was rumored about that guy for years.
I'll give you another one.
Years.
I'll give you another one. Jamie Lynn Spears.
That's what kicked it off.
We talked about that. Do you remember back in the day?
Yeah,
we talked about it.
Yeah, even back in the Zoe 101 days, it was rumored that he was a creepy creepazoid. So
and this rumor was proven false, but there was a rumor for the longest time that he impregnated her.
Which I don't know if I'd go that far, but
No, they proved it false, but it was a rumor.
The fact that there's a kernel of truth, the fact that there's at least a kernel of truth in there, that's not a good sign. And compound that with all the emotional abuse that Jennette McCurdy was suffering from her mother, who had pushed her into acting. It's something that she never really wanted to do. It makes for compelling reading, but you gotta feel bad for that poor woman.
I mean, she's doing her own projects now. She's doing what she wants to do. She has a
she's healthy. She's on a path to recovery from the eating disorders. So
she's got a really good popular podcast. Also,
empty inside.
And I think she also did another one on health and wellness.
I did, but there's a bunch of other tidbits that we don't even have time to go in. I mean, she even went after Ariana Grande a little bit.
Well, I know a little bit.
Kinda.
I know a little bit about that because so what happened was originally she was supposed to be the star of
That
the sitcom,
spinoff was supposed to be about her.
right? And then all of a sudden, I know what they did. They wanted someone from iCarly and someone from Victorious because they knew both shows were popular.
And Ariana Grande's music career was just taking off.
It was about to hit.
Skyrocketing.
It was about to hit the stratosphere when that show came around, and basically they wrote her out of a few episodes so that she could go do
So
stuff
that
for
she could
music.
go, and Jennette couldn't, and she had to turn down a couple roles because of it. And
They wouldn't let Jennette.
yeah, but they let Ariana Grande do what she wanted, and it's like, I gotta get up early in the morning to spend 3 days talking to a fucking box because apparently they had written her out that her
Yes.
character was stuck in a box.
Right. Yeah.
So
Well, no, she was locked in a box. I remember the episode actually.
locked in a box or something like that. And honestly, I think that she in the book, in the expert excerpts that have been published.
She annihilated Ariana Grande.
She said, basically, you've wanted for nothing, and who the you wanted for nothing, and my mother was a hoarder, and I grew up fucking poor. So how is it that you get all the fucking breaks? And it's an understandable sentiment. It really is. But I think that's more of her chafing against the problem that she really has is with Nickelodeon, because the fact that they did this to her and then were,
The fact
facilitated-
the fact that they were willing to make it go away with $300,000 tells you a lot.
is not it tells you a hell of a lot about the way they operate, about what's important to them.
And by the way,
It's pretty obvious that they didn't give a hot tin shit about anything that was happening to her.
piece of advice for child actors today:
Don't go into child acting.
don't do it.
Don't do it.
You're gonna waste your life away.
You're gonna hate. Once you may think you love to act,
You're gonna resent everybody
but
you're around.
you're gonna hate it. And if you get to the point where you start to hate something you love, that's the tragedy of it.
And you know what?
But in Jennette McCurdy's case, she never really liked acting to begin with. So
Her mother forced her because they needed money.
yeah, because she grew up poor. So
But she had a lot of issues.
Well-
Now, I don't know if you remember in iCarly, they would refer to her mother, but you never saw her on screen, or you never, she had issues.
Yeah.
And I think they were actually reprising her mother's role in real life.
maybe, but I don't know. I mean, I still think Nickelodeon showed a shocking lack of understanding when it comes to knowing what she
$300,000.
understanding the problems that she was having, and
But wait a second, $300,000. Think about that.
$300,000 to make everything you did go away. I'm glad she didn't take it.
I mean,
I'm glad she didn't take it.
not that it matters, not that the money matters. She probably is going to make more from the book than she was going to make
She's
from.
probably gonna make more from the book.
Not that that's the point.
Advance combined.
Not that that's the point of the story. I'm
And
just
it's
saying.
not the point of the story, but the point of the story is that it had to come to this point that she almost destroyed herself, or was almost destroyed by these forces crushing her. And your response to it is not, "Well, we need to make things better." It's, okay, just shove money at this problem until it shuts up.
This is crazy, though.
It's a horrible, horrible situation to be caught in, and I'm glad she's still on this side. I'm glad she's still on this side of things.
I mean, I want to talk about this little headline too, because this was a little odd. So Jennette McCurdy says her mom warned her not to get, quote, too close to iCarly co-star Miranda Cosgrove because she, quote, doesn't believe in God. Now, before I say anything about the story, why are you judging someone for what they believe in?
Well, again, she grew up very religious, Mormon, in fact.
No, I understand, but you have no right to judge somebody on.
I know that, but a lot of super religious people, they get off on that.
Yeah, you know what my answer is?
Because
F you.
Yeah. In plain English, because it's like, you're supposed to love people, not judge them, but that's your favorite pastime.
And you know what?
It's an us against them mentality.
And
I'm the righteous one, and you're the dirty sinner because you don't believe what I believe.
And you know what? This might get me in trouble partially, but the whole religion thing, like where people are, well, you don't believe in what I believe in, I hate you.
Well, that's not actually that. Well, that's religion, but you think of it's easier to think of religion as a hierarchy between man and God that is placed between man and God. Not religion and the belief in God are two different things.
But this statement is ludicrous. You don't hang out with someone because they don't believe in God.
I know it is. But it's just emblematic of everything that poor woman had to go through.
Her mother was a fuck up.
And it's clear she had some serious psychological issues.
She was relying.
And it evidently took years of therapy to try to even attempt to unpack.
Her mother was relying on Jennette's acting money
as the meal ticket. She lived vicariously through her daughter.
And that's what's so crazy. And that's what leads to all these incidents. Because what happens when you're a child actor and you end up on a Hollywood set? Things happen.
And that pisses me off more than anything, that you live vicariously through your children, that you force your children to be something that they don't want to be. I mean, get your own fucking dreams.
You know what's crazy though?
Just because you didn't live them doesn't mean that they have to do what you failed to do.
But you know what's crazy though? And now that this is all coming out and it's making sense. When you look at her character, you look at Sam Puckett on iCarly, who was the emotionally
yeah, she was the firecracker.
Not just that, but her character was emotionally kept inside.
Yeah, very, 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 very bunched in.
Like she was. I don't know if I want to say bully, but
I did watch some of the show. I never really thought it was.
But
I never really thought it was funny, but that's beside the point.
No, but
she was the funny. She and Jerry Trainer were the funniest people on it. So,
but the point is, her character was, she would put up a tough exterior, but she would keep her emotions to herself. It kind of adds up.
It kind of mirrors that. It kind of does.
So it makes me wonder. Not that I would ever change anything, but what if she never had the issues?
Wait. What exactly are you saying?
I'm saying if she never had the issues, with her mother, the character is never the same. The character is never the same thing. I mean,
if she never had the issues with her mother, then she wouldn't even be on this show.
That's my point. And I don't think
she wouldn't be acting.
And I don't think the show would be a thing either.
The show wouldn't be a thing either. But you know what? I mean,
I'm just talking about that things happen.
It's the past. You can't change it. The only thing you can do is learn from it.
Oh no, I just meant things happen for a reason. Yeah. It coincidentally.
Maybe they do. Maybe there was a reason for all that, and maybe the reason is that she can become a better person out of this. And it seems like she's well on her way, and I'm glad that she's working through all this.
It's tough. I mean, I think she'll be fine. I mean, I'm impressed that she's being as honest and talking about it as much as she is. She went on GMA, most people, Good Morning America, and did a large interview on it. She's been on all the morning shows. Her book.
Yeah, she's been making the rounds.
Her book. It wasn't the first week, Nick. It was the first day it sold out on Amazon. First day.
So,
that tells you.
I have to read the book.
I've been trying to look around to get the book, because if we read the book, I'd somehow get an interview. I would do it in a second. But all right, it's
good for her. She's healing.
Yeah, I agree. All right, now it's time for some radio nerdy news, which I don't get to do very often. So I don't know. Have you listened to The Breakfast Club at all, Nick?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so The Breakfast Club is a nationally syndicated radio show. I'm trying to think. It's hip hop.
One of the few with an all black cast.
Hip hop R&B top 40.
Hip hop R&B top 40.
And it's Charlemagne the God, DJ Envy, and Angela Yee with 3 hosts. Big time show, 100+ stations of syndication around the country, including, for most people who don't know New York, Power 105, where the show is out of. And a cryptic tweet was put out by Angela Yee that The Breakfast Club was never going to be the same again.
I think the tweet was The Breakfast Club, as you know it, is no longer
That's it. Right.
no longer a thing or something to that effect.
So that led to a whole like outcry, and all of a sudden they had to address it the next day. And apparently, I was watching the videos of it, and apparently it was planned
that she would be leaving.
No, that the tweet was planned. And they knew about it, which is
so it's not like a Desus and Mero thing where all of a sudden they just break up like that.
It's still kind of fucked up though that
It's still kind of screwed up, but you know what? Angela Yee is very talented.
Well, okay,
so she won't. Yeah,
let me get to that part. So this is a big time show. I think it's been on for like 15 or 16 years. The Breakfast Club has been on a long time.
Yeah, it has.
And I was doing some research. It gets like 8 to 9 million listeners per show, from what I read.
Yeah.
They're simulcasted on a channel called Revolt TV.
Yeah.
Also, like they're big time.
Yeah, that's how I knew them. Usually from their YouTube clips.
And like Charlemagne the God has done some TV and other stuff, and so Angela Yee, it was announced that she will be doing her own syndicated program for iHeart, for Premiere, which is syndicated for iHeart, and she's going to be in middays in syndication. It wasn't announced like what the time is. I'm assuming so. If it's midday, I mean, we come from the radio world. Probably be 12 to 3 or 12 to 4. It's going to be syndicated. 30 plus markets was what was in the press release. And it will be on Power 105 also. So,
and it's not nothing. It's a big step forward for her. But you know what?
I'll reveal the big step. She is either she's the only black female leading host nationally syndicated under Premiere.
And as good as she is, that's kind of a piss poor statistics. The fact that she's the only one.
It's insulting to the black community.
It's insulting. It's insulting. I mean, I don't presume to speak for them.
No, I'm just saying it's insulting for the black community. It's insulting for the female community.
It's a little insulting for both communities in this point. But
there are a ton of female personalities that do not get the credit.
Black personalities too that don't get that shot because you're. I hate to say it, Nick, because you worked in radio for a long time, but radio's kind of stodgy. Radio's not exactly the cutting edge of talent anymore.
Well, it kind of died after the whole Howard Stern effect when I'm shock jock, I say what I want, I don't care. Like,
but correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it a little too middle-aged and white?
What, radio?
Yeah.
I would say it's almost unfair. The amount of the ratio to white to black talent is night and day.
Yeah, which is not to say that the talent's not there. It's just you're not giving them a shot.
I mean,
you'd rather overspend for some over the hill comedian who just keeps getting angry at the fact that audiences aren't laughing at his jokes anymore.
I mean, I know I keep going down my resume of people I've been interviewing, but it has to do with this. I interviewed Adam Carolla way back in the day in college radio also. And we never got to this story because we talked partially about it because he was one of the replacements when Howard left terrestrial radio. I don't know if you remember that, but and he was a failure. He's a record-breaking podcaster now.
But it didn't. But his foray into radio didn't really work.
Because first of all, radio format is different than podcasting. You and I know that just from doing all these things. Radio, you have to follow commercial breaks. You have to follow formats. You can't do certain things on radio.
And you can't deviate. And God help you if you deviate.
Well, not even, forget deviate. How many curse words have we said on here already?
About a bajillion and fucking 10.
Okay, well, you can't do that on radio either because there's an FCC. So this is a talent and an art. And Angela Yee getting recognized. Now, I don't like the way 100% that it was done. That basically is because she was on the Breakfast Club. That's why they gave her a show.
Because if she was off the street, I guarantee you they wouldn't even have given her the time of day. Even if she had the exact amount of talent that she has right now, they wouldn't have given her a shot.
She had a career before the Breakfast Club. She was at Sirius doing a morning show on Shade 45. Which is, I think, the M&M channel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But She's very talented. Very talented. I mean,
And you know what? One can hope that this is going to end with her getting to sit in the big chair means that other black women are going to be following her up into that chair. But knowing how radio works, and knowing you, being friends with you for as long as I have, and doing this podcast and being a part of this podcast network, I've learned more about the radio business than I ever could. Even when I was interning at
oh,
iHeartRadio, the Hudson Valley, I didn't know this.
oh, so you were inside the iHeart door.
Okay, you know that. I
No,
told
no,
you
no.
that.
I'm just saying. Like, I'm just pointing it out to you. You were in the iHeart door.
Yeah, I was in the belly of the soul sucking demon. So, I mean, knowing how radio operates, and now I know where the strings are. Now I know who actually runs fucking what. I don't think that things are just so resistant to change. You'd think they were made of steel.
The only host I can really think of close, black female, really did Wendy Williams,
Yeah,
and she was local.
or Robin.
Oh, Robin Quivers.
Yeah,
Well, that's with Howard Stern, but yes,
she's talented enough to get her. She's been doing this long enough.
I don't know if she could do her own show.
But she's been doing it long enough. She's definitely got the bona fides.
But
people know her name.
Well, she was a news anchor. That was really her thing. Howard was a radio host, like a shock jock radio host. Robin is the best equivalent, making that show.
It's not exactly that every radio talent has to be a shock jock. I mean, you can...
No. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying Howard was a radio host. Robin, it's two different things. Robin was a news anchor in radio. So it's two different things, two different jobs. So when you host like Howard does, Howard has to really plan out a format for 4 hours. Robin was doing news. You're planning for like every 22 minutes, every 20 minutes in news. That's all I'm saying. That's the difference I'm making. Don't get me wrong. She's down. She helped Howard have the female perspective of that show that it didn't have before she was there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I mean, there are the point I'm making is there's more talent than you think and they deserve. There's more talent out there than you think they might in that kind of talent. In that.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing with you.
And they're not getting a shot like they should.
There is so much talent out there that's unrecognized due to the way they look. It's sick. It's really sick. Like. And just from where I was, I'm not going to say names, but like someone I was working with that deserved a chance to lead a show and never got it. Never got it.
And the fact that she wasn't bitter about it, I mean, I give her more credit.
Now, I mean, some of the people she worked with was a nightmare, but that's a whole different issue. But I'm happy about this. Totally deserved. She's going to be in 30 markets. Now, the one thing that this does do in New York radio, the Breakfast Club is, like I said, on an 100 plus station syndication. It's on Power 105 from 6 to 10. This is going to be on from either 12 to 3 or 12 to 4, also on Power 105, syndicated. So what does that mean for those hours?
I mean, those hours are going to be taken by syndicated programming.
And I've said this for a long time. Local radio is what?
Dead.
Dead. D-E-A-D. Capital D-E-A-D. Dead.
I mean, the fact that they're throwing this much money into it is the money has to come from somewhere, and it has to come at the expense of something.
It has nothing to do with that.
It's a zero, but it shouldn't have to be a zero-sum game. But this is the market that we live in.
But you know what the sad part is? Like, I'm noticing, and this is just me looking at like what radio stations are hiring, what companies are hiring. They're hiring board ops. They're no longer hiring talent
because the talent that they have won't leave. And the
no. It has to do with the syndication. So all the stations are taking the syndication.
Because they don't want to have to pay for local talent.
So what are they doing? They're hiring board ops to sit there for 6-7 hours and just put faders up and down.
Essentially, they're hiring 14, 15 more U's.
When I was at my job, And I can tell you, all right, I'll say when I was at ABC and I worked an overnight shift, or I worked anywhere from 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. to 6 a.m. Okay,
And how many other people were doing that?
two people, two other people,
How
but
many
I was doing most of the overnight shifts. So, what were you going to say though?
How many more people are going to be doing that now that they're going to shifting more to syndicated programming?
You're just going to hire people for 15 an hour who are just going to sit there.
But you're going to hire more and more people to just
Actually,
sit there like you did.
Actually, you might not have to do that because
It's
you
all
could.
automated.
No, it's no. Not that it's well. That's going to happen regardless down the line. I don't think it's going to happen yet, but it will. You could do it with talk programming because you can have the breaks just falter in as soon as the tones get sent out. That's why I explained to you back in the day when we send tones out. That's an alert also to automated stations to hit their breaks. But they're just going to hire people like myself. And don't get me wrong, I got to do midday shows.
And that's not the only thing you did. I mean, you were actually board hopping a lot, meaning you were in the room working, making sure, producing these shows, making sure they run, and you were basically doing most of the work to make those shows run anyway. So it's not like you were some button pushing monkey.
Right, and that's what people forget and confuse. Like, just because you're running taking in syndicated radio to local, you still have to insert the breaks. You still have to put the news in at the top of the hour. You still have to put the traffic in. You still have all this stuff you have to do. But at the same time, I ran a syndicated show. So I get this whole situation with radio. And, like, I was the one who was running that big board so that 150, 100, 200 stations took it.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I mean, people are not going to like me in the radio business when I say this, but radio is in decline and it's going to be gone soon.
Well, the ones that are agreeing with you are not in the business anymore. Not in the business anymore.
I mean, when you're too busy having to take Ben Shapiro on every station
when you're too busy just to adjusting Ben Shapiro's seat donut so he appears taller than he actually is.
Well, I mean, when you have to carry syndicated shows like Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk.
I didn't actually know that Ben Shapiro was 4'3", but that's the magic of radio for you.
I'm the smartest guy in the world, and you can't be. Fuck you.
Oh God! Let's just move on before I started on him.
Well, we could spend a whole 2 hours on that. All right. Let's see. Where do we want to go here? All right. Well, speaking of disgusting, monkeypox. So a man who tested negative for monkeypox twice got bad infection, feared he might go blind. Now, is this another version of COVID? Are we going to have another shutdown?
In terms of monkeypox, no, because you can't even get assholes to mask up, and now the CDC is loosening its restrictions on COVID itself. It came out just today. So, what restrictions are you expecting them to put in place for monkeypox? However, the man fearing he might go blind. I mean, there's plenty of things there are plenty of things that can make you go blind.
Well, apparently it says a man who tested negative for monkeypox had such a bad facial rash, doctors feared he might go blind. Kevin Wong, 33 years old, saw multiple healthcare providers before he was treated for monkeypox. The doctor treating him said he was shocked by how quickly Wong responded to the drug.
Which, again, it illustrates the need for prompt treatment. But you know what? The fact that you're going to sit there and say, hey, you know what? Let's just let people live with it and just leave it up to individual discretion.
But wait a minute. This is crazy. So it says by the time he met infectious disease specialist Peter Chin Hong, who diagnosed him, Wong was, quote, miserable with hundreds of sores over his body. And at this point, he had attended 6 online appointments, rung a nurse hotline, visited an urgent treatment center, been to ER twice, and he tried steroids for eczema. Eczema. Oh, I should have known that. I had eczema when I was a kid. Oh my God. And antivirals for herpes, and was misdiagnosed with scabies.
Again, this is nothing like a pandemic to show you exactly where all the cracks are.
God, that sounds like a bad. That sounds like a bad laundry list.
It is. It's a list you never want to have to be on. But you know what? It shows all the inadequacies of our public health system, where we'll do what's easy and what's politically viable over what's necessary.
You want to know what tipped him off to go to the doctor? This is crazy. He said an itchy hand woke him up from his sleep.
Which that man must be really in tune with his body to realize something was wrong just with his hand being itchy.
But that's crazy. An itchy hand made you think you had monkeypox?
But at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I've spent a lot of time on this podcast. You know this too, where I've been trying to tell people you need to do the right thing. Please keep up on your vaccinations. Please keep up and imploring government officials to please get people vaccinated for monkeypox, for COVID. But you know what? It's obvious that they don't care anymore.
There are some people who are still not vaccinated.
It's obvious that they don't care anymore, and the fact that this guy had to suffer for what did he say? The better part of a week.
Well, just that list of things in general that
just
all
that list of things bothering him before somebody actually had the bright idea to say, "Hey, maybe we should treat this guy," and it's insulting. It really is.
It feels like a bad Dr. Phil moment right here. Just like,
son, you might want to go and get that checked. So I've seen hands do a lot of things. I've seen hands flip people off, but I've never ever seen that. So you may want to get that checked out, my boy.
It just made, I mean, the impression was hilarious, but I just meant that felt like a Dr. Phil moment where he would just over-explain something just to make a point. But I don't know. This is crazy. And by the way, I don't know if I'm sure you know this too. The monkeypox vaccine is mostly in the LGBTQ plus community.
Because it's mostly in gay and bisexual men and women. It's not a gay disease.
Right.
It's not something you can get by. It's not sexually transmitted. So don't go blaming gay people for this. But
yeah, please don't.
Again, but people like to jump to conclusions and they like scapegoats.
Yeah, please don't.
Why not? So it's not like we had enough of that in the 80s. So
right.
now all of a sudden we're back to square one in terms of what we were doing when people were blaming AIDS on gay people for.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't alive for that one, and I'd rather not get a crash course on what that was like.
Yeah, we don't.
I'm not gay, but I would rather not have to see people resort to that.
God, don't watch Avenue Q. Then they make too many jokes about that.
Because it's more than a little insulting.
Just a tad. But speaking of insulting, Frank Gore dragged naked woman by her hair in Atlantic City, and when I saw this, I said, "Oh my God!" Like,
so Frank Gore is retired. Am I right?
I think he just retired, if I'm not mistaken.
So, look, what is it with ex-NFL players, and just stupid decisions?
By the way, he's 28 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh no, the woman is 28 years old.
Oh,
Excuse me.
28 years old.
Excuse me. She's 28 years old. But apparently, so Frank Gore grabbed the naked woman by her hair, dragged her across a hotel room's hallway during an altercation in Atlantic City. According to a new bombshell court document, cops say the incident between the NFL legend and a 28-year-old woman happened in the early morning hours of July 31st on the 59th floor of the Tropicana Casino's Havana Tower.
What is it with NFL players and bad relationships with bad things with women?
Who said it was a relationship?
I don't get it.
Who said it was a relationship? It could have just been a fling.
It's not even. You're right. It's not even a relationship. So, oh God, you would think people would have learned the lesson, but they never do.
No, I'm not saying anything, but she could have been drunk for all we know. I'm not saying that. Who knows?
We don't know anything right now, but in terms of the optics, it really doesn't look good.
Well, it says, according to the docs, Gore, quote, forcibly gripped the woman by her hair before, quote, violently dragging her nude person along the floor of the 59th hallway.
Which is not a good thing, no matter what you think, no matter which way you look at it. That's not a good sign.
You know what the sad part is, though? They didn't arrest him the first time when they saw
Oh,
it.
of course, because he's Frank Gore.
But it says Gore, though, was ultimately charged days later with simple assault, which is basically nothing. And my favorite words, the cops said they further investigated the allegations.
Of course they did, which I'll take to mean they pretty much fucking ignored it.
I mean,
So,
but apparently he's going to go to court in October, which basically means he'll get off from it.
oh God. All right,
One more, and we got to finish on a funny note because that was a lot of. So, what's our big claim to fame on this show?
You going after a Kardashian slash Kim?
Well, yeah. So we all know about this. How Kim Kardashian feels about Pete Davidson going to trauma therapy over Kanye West. Now,
For those of you who don't know,
yeah,
Pete Davidson is the luckiest motherfucker on the Eastern Seaboard.
I mean, how many hot women has he dated?
Ooh, about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 if last I not that I'm counting, but so he recently broke up with Kim Kardashian because of apparently, his career is kind of, they're both too busy for it, so
Yeah, okay.
So when they announced that they were breaking up, Kanye West he starts cyberbullying Pete Davidson again because this man is clearly in need of a mental health intervention.
I mean,
So
I have to do one thing.
for who though?
Both sides, because this is a shit show. The Kardashians, the Kardashians are a curse. It's the Kardashian curse.
I mean, she was the one who married Kanye in the first place, so.
Wait a minute, and she also had that. Or wait, was that Chloe or was that Kim? Was Kim the one who had the 72-day marriage?
No, that wasn't Kim.
Or was that Chloe was that Chloe with Lamar Odom?
It might have been. I'm not sure.
Shit, I'm looking that up now. But the point is, oh no, it was Kim. It was Kim with Chris Humphries. That's it.
Oh yeah.
Remember the wedding was on E, and they made a whole big deal out of it, and then it ended after 72 days.
Oh God, you're giving me PTSD now.
My point is, I don't know if I want to laugh at this, but I don't know if
it's not funny because it's clear. It's pretty clear that Kanye West does not means Pete Davidson at least some harm.
Okay, but these guys don't. But these guys don't learn from prior history from other big names who've dated Kardashian.
I can't blame Pete Davidson for that.
You got to get the message.
You should have. Yeah, you should have maybe looked at it a little bit closer.
And also, you should have known. Read the fine print when you signed the contract for dating a Kardashian. That
I guess he thought that Kanye was over it, or for whatever reason. But she's been very supportive of him going to trauma therapy about this, and you know what? It's a good thing. It's a good thing to go to therapy to try because the man, because Pete Davidson has struggled. He's been very open with the fact that he's been struggling with mental illness at various points in his life, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean,
the problem is. This is becoming becoming almost like by dragging it into the public eye. It seems like they're kind of trivializing the fact that Kanye West would probably harm Pete Davidson if he saw him.
Kanye West needs to be in a mental institution.
Oh God,
I'm serious though. This man is nuts.
He is not well.
He's not
well.
Too bad I don't have my sound effect in here because I forgot to put it in here. Cuckoo, cuckoo.
I mean, I hope that the man gets help he needs, and I hope that Pete gets the help he needs. Because, honest to God, this is just an ugly situation from top to bottom.
Pete's not a bad person, at least from what I understand.
No, he's not a bad person.
I mean, his ego is a little bit large, but
I mean, most of the criticism of Pete Davidson is they're jealous. They're jealous that they don't have the life he lives.
all right, that's a good point. I'll give you that one. But
And maybe his face is just a little bit punchable, but whose face isn't punchable? My face is punchable.
yeah, I mean, my point is that you have to read.
Everybody's face is punchable with a little imagination.
You need to read the fine print when you go to date a Kardashian, though. And I hate this,
but this is the circus that this family is turned into.
I hate to say this.
Where nobody goes to therapy because it's all content.
Well, that's a good point. Well, they probably filmed it and put it on Hulu because they're always 5 to 6 months ahead.
Because it's all content.
Well, did you see the promo for season 2?
Apparently, we're not actually dealing with people's feelings here.
Wait a minute. Did you see the promo for season 2?
I did not.
Basically, it was Kim asking Pete Davidson, "You want to go take a quick shower with me?"
Oh God.
And now he's not even part of the family anymore.
At a certain point, ladies and gentlemen, I have sympathy for him, but you know what? You could have done a little bit more research, dude. I'm sure you thought things were going to be okay, but you know what? This family is that screwed up for a reason.
There's no way, and I'm going to say this, and this might be a little harsh. Kim Kardashian is damaged goods.
I wouldn't say. See, damaged goods is not exactly what I would look for. I think I would say it's cynical is what it is.
No, but she's damaged. Every time she dates somebody, it turns into a circus.
At this point, it is what it is. They've been what they've been for years, and people won't stop tuning in because they don't see it as people's lives, livelihoods, and mental health. They see it as just another episode of TV, just another installment of the Kardashians that they have to keep up with.
That's a good point. I mean, it is what it is. I'll never watch the show. At least I won't. But
the only thing that we can do is just hope that the people involved get the help they need. That's what I'll say about it.
yeah, I mean, like I said, it is what it is. I think Pete Davidson's a much better guy than Kanye West will ever be, ever. But who knows? We ran out of time though. But did you see what happened with Marshawn Lynch getting arrested for DUI?
Yes, I did.
Is that crazy or what? That he drove up on the sidewalk?
Yes, I did, and he lost 2 tires. Yeah, which is a shame because it was a nice car. But you know what? That's what we do here at Beyond the Bench. We talk about shenanigans.
It's a good point, but that just about does it for episode 42 of Beyond the Bench. Follow us across social media. If I can grab the stuff on the ETB network, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, not Getter, not Truth Social.
No, we are not on those networks, but we are on the aforementioned networks. So make sure you check us out there. We've actually got a bunch of new content coming, a bunch of great new stuff coming. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled, both of them. Keep them wide open and keep them glued to that screen.
Make sure you follow us on social media show at Beyond the Bench 1, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. But make sure you follow us. Also, go check out our 2 newest shows that we haven't had a chance to promote. Go check out Fruity Cereal with Kevin O'Leary and Connor Fitzgerald. Now, Kevin I knew from when I went to LIU Post. So we caught up again. Now they're doing that show. It's an LGBTQ/pop culture show. So if you really like to laugh, it's really fun.
And those guys are the kings of episode titles.
and thumbnails. And
thumbnails too. So check them out because it's definitely worth a watch.
And then also go check out MMA Outsiders with our co-host Tom Albano from Empty the Bench and Zan Bando, really one of the best when it comes to UFC MMA coverage. So bless you. And that's on the same day as Empty the Bench. It's a Wednesday at 9 a.m. Fruity Cereal is Monday at 9 a.m. all Eastern time. We're gaining a lot of traction. We're starting to gain a lot of notoriety. So please go check us out across the full network.
Like, subscribe, and ring the bell when you get there too. Because
Please press the subscribe button.
we've got a lot of stuff we've got a lot of stuff coming, and we want you to be there to see it first. So for my venerable co-host, Mr. Nick Morgasen, I am Nick Fodera, and I am saying good night, everybody. See you back on the bench.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week for episode 43.